The third year in the convent was when I began to see the profound ripple of small actions. Every day, the routine still demanded discipline. Prayer at dawn, chores, study, meditation, and service. But now, each action carried intention that went beyond obligation. It was in this year that I learned the most powerful lesson of all, the true impact of presence. It started one morning with a letter. Not a letter addressed to me, but one from a local family, whose daughter Sarah had been receiving care from the convent's outreach program. Sarah was severely ill, her condition fragile and complex. The letter expressed gratitude for the attention, patience, and care she had received from the sisters. It was short, simple, yet it struck me deeply. Reading it, I felt an unfamiliar warmth, a recognition that the smallest acts could shape someone else's entire experience. I realized that my own struggles and doubts, which had seemed so heavy and personal, had a purpose that extended beyond me. Every hour I spent in quiet service, every moment of patience, and even every tear shed in reflection was part of a greater story. I began to notice it everywhere. In the kitchen, Sister Anne, who had spent decades serving meals to the poor, never complained when a pot boiled over or a dish cracked. She worked silently, meticulously, and with dignity. Watching her, I understood that love is often expressed not in grand gestures, but in consistency, care, and presence. In the garden, I observed Sister Helen kneeling in the soil, her hands rough and worn, planting flowers for the courtyard. Each flower she placed was deliberate. Each plant nurtured became a symbol of patience, endurance, and hope. I understood that life, like the garden, requires attention, persistence, and quiet love to flourish. And then, there were the moments that tested me most. One afternoon, a younger sister, Anne-Marie, came to me in tears. She had struggled with obedience and discipline, feeling confined by the rules, and feared she had chosen the wrong path. I held her hands and reminded her of my own early years, the fear, doubt, and confusion I had carried. Discipline is not confinement, I said softly. It is the framework within which freedom, clarity, and purpose grow. She looked at me with wide eyes, still unsure, but willing to try again. I realized then that leadership is not about authority. It is about guiding others with patience, empathy, and unwavering belief in their potential. During this year, I also began to confront my own fears and insecurities more directly. There were mornings when I felt entirely inadequate. My prayers felt hollow, my chores tedious, and my heart heavy with longing for the outside world. Yet each time, the convent's rhythm reminded me that growth often comes through struggle. I remember one particularly challenging week when I was assigned to assist at a nearby community center. The center served women and children who faced extreme hardship. Many had no family, no support, and no hope. Some of their stories were devastating: neglect, illness, poverty. Listening to them, I felt a profound helplessness. I wanted to do more, to fix everything, but realized quickly that the best I could do was to offer presence, empathy, and encouragement. One little boy, Thomas, clung to my hand as I guided him through an art project. His eyes, wide and anxious, filled with a mixture of fear and hope. "Will it be okay?" he asked. I knelt beside him and smiled. "It will be okay, Thomas. You're doing your best, and that's what matters." He smiled back, and for a moment, the weight of the world seemed lighter. That simple exchange reminded me that sometimes the most significant impact we have is in small moments of reassurance, kindness, and patience. One evening, while reading in the library, I came across a book of reflections written by a nun who had spent her life teaching children in remote villages. She wrote, "True service is never about recognition or reward. It is about showing up, even when unseen, and doing what is needed with love and courage." Her words echoed through me. I realized that the convent had taught me lessons that extended far beyond its walls. Life's true purpose is not in grand achievements or accolades, but in the quiet moments when we choose love, patience, and service over comfort, convenience, or self-interest. That year also brought moments of deep reflection on personal growth. I had always thought strength was about endurance, but now I began to understand that true strength is about vulnerability. Admitting fear, doubt, or insecurity is not weakness. It is a gateway to courage. Sharing those feelings with others is not failure. It is connection. I began journaling daily, pouring out my thoughts, fears, and reflections. These journals became a mirror, revealing my progress, my challenges, and my evolving understanding of what it means to live a purposeful life. Over time, I noticed changes in myself. I was calmer, more patient, and more confident in my ability to face life's uncertainties. By the end of the third year, the most profound transformation was internal. I had learned that life's purpose is found not in comfort, but in commitment, not in ease, but in action, not in waiting, but in stepping forward. Even when the path is uncertain, I remember standing in the chapel one evening, candles flickering, the faint scent of incense hanging in the air. I whispered a prayer, not for myself, but for those whose lives I might touch through service, patience, and love. It was then that I realized the convent's greatest gift was not in shaping who I became as a nun, but in shaping who I could be as a human being, someone capable of empathy, courage, and lasting impact. The shocking truth of that year, the lesson that struck deepest, was simple yet profound. You cannot control the world, but you can control how you show up for it. Every small act of kindness, every moment of presence, every decision to choose love over fear ripples outward in ways you may never see. And I had seen glimpses of it in the eyes of children, in the smiles of the women I served, and in the quiet nods of the sisters who shared my journey. Each ripple was proof that even a life lived quietly, devotedly, and with intention can change the world. As the year closed, I looked at the mirror in my room and hardly recognized the person staring back. She was still the young, uncertain girl who had arrived in the convent, but she was also someone stronger, wiser, and more compassionate. I had been transformed, not by grandeur, not by recognition, but by service, reflection, and unwavering dedication to something greater than myself. I knew, deep down, that the lessons of the convent would follow me long after I left its walls. That year had taught me patience, empathy, courage, and the quiet power of showing up fully, even when the work seemed small, unnoticed, or difficult. And as I prepared to enter my fourth year, I felt a deep sense of gratitude, not only for the lessons, the guidance, and the experiences, but for the opportunity to see how much one life, dedicated to purpose and service, could truly grow.